Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my updated 2024 election map. I do this every Thursday, and it is just my prediction on the current US election. Now, the interesting thing is, and I don't predict this, but the thing that's really changing seemingly is the popular vote. It seems like Donald Trump has a real legit chance to actually win the popular vote this year. Obviously, if he wins the popular vote based on the electoral math, he's a lock to win the election. And so a lot of these states Trump is looking really, really good on. Within the past week since my last update, we've seen significant movement in terms of the betting markets in Nevada specifically. Really, every other one has gone slightly more towards Trump than where we were a week ago. But this is just another update, and I think I'll release my final prediction this Saturday before the election. So that you've got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then the election's on Tuesday, probably on Saturday. But either way, people talk about Virginia. That's a state that I am going to talk about. Right now, I still do have it blue, but supposedly there is some polling out of Virginia that could be very positive for Trump. They've been talking about the early voting, the rural enthusiasm in Virginia for Trump, the Glenn Youngkin factor. I'm surprised Trump decided to not do a rally in Virginia with Glenn Youngkin, especially considering, what people on the ground there are saying. But we will have to see on this updated poll in Virginia, possibly if it's a Trump +1, Trump +2. We have not seen a poll in Virginia where Trump has led. There's been very close polling where Trump was only down by 2. And then the real recent stuff's been like Kamala up by 5 or 6. That's why people have kind of stopped talking about it. But the betting right now is like 85-15. It's actually like 80-20. So Trump's coming up a little bit. But if we get like a Trump +1, +2 in Virginia, the betting is going to significantly go up. Trump might have like a 35-40% chance. And you're talking about maybe Virginia also being in the mix as a swing state. And then you could also argue Minnesota as well. There's debates. Minnesota is possibly more Republican than Virginia, but Virginia has the Youngkin factor. They're very close. We'll see what happens if we get any polls out of Minnesota, but they are very close in terms of the next states up for Donald Trump in terms of flipping either one of those. But getting to the actual prediction here, I'm going to be giving Donald Trump, obviously, Nevada. And when you look at Nevada, the thing that we're going to be looking at is the betting, because the betting has made a significant turn. I will also take a look at the overall polls there. But I did want to highlight this because recently, even the past week, I did a prediction. The last time I did a prediction, Trump was sitting 50%. It was right on, even in terms of his chances. Now Trump's gone up 13% more. There were some really good early Clark County early voting numbers for Republicans, and that was part of it. In general, I think the polling, when you look at Nevada, it checks out as a potential Trump victory. Oh no, this is the Senate polling. I'm sorry about that. Let's go to Nevada, regular polling, Trump versus Harris, and you do have Trump sitting +0.7 in October, this date in October in 2020. Biden was up by 5.5, Hillary was up by 5, so it's been a significant shift, and that's a very good Bloomberg poll. Bloomberg's been very liberal this cycle, we all know it. There were 2 polls that got released last night. One was a Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac's been better this cycle, but last night they had a relapse. Bloomberg's been terrible the entire cycle. They've been really liberal. They've been more liberal than everyone else. It's just the way they've been conducting polls. I don't know how they poll people. But so, to have a Harris +1, that's bullish news for Trump. That's good news. I like seeing that. It is going to be a very close state. I mean, Insider Advantage was good in 2020. They say it's a tie. Atlas Intel says it's a tie. You've got Rasmussen with Trump up 2. You've got Trafalgar, the Republican pollster, with Harris actually up 1. So it's going to be very close. But I do still like Donald Trump's chances when it comes to Nevada. You also do have Arizona. This is potentially the state that we're looking at where I'm not saying it's not a swing state, but Trump's up to like around 75-77% chance to win Arizona. Like, it's getting to the point where it's going to be like a slight Trump lean. I mean, I think you could say right now it's a Trump lean, but it's not going to be a lock, but it's going to be close, I think, with Arizona. We were hearing rumors about Arizona months ago that Harris and her campaign were pissed off. They were done with Arizona. It's only 11 electoral votes. They were focusing on the Rust Belt and potentially flipping North Carolina. And I think Arizona's gone for Kamala Harris. I think Trump's winning Arizona. I've thought that for a while. And now you're looking at like 77-23 in terms of the odds. Trump wins, 77% chance. Possibly it's going to be up around 80 on election day. I think it's a potential 3-4 point victory. The question is, can Kari Lake potentially win if Trump wins by 3.5 to 4? I think that's the main question there. When you've got Georgia, we've got really good polling out of Georgia recently. Really good polling. There's been better polling out of Georgia than North Carolina when you compare the two there. But specifically in Georgia, I mean, Trump is up in basically all of these polls. There was a recent Marist, which has been very liberal. They've got it as a tie, but all of these, I mean, this is the number one pollster out of Georgia. It's the Atlantic Journal. They were within a point of the final results. In their final poll in both 2016 and 2020, they've got Trump +4. That's a potential 3.5-point victory for Trump. So we'll have to see. I mean, you're talking 2 to 4 points in terms of a Trump victory in Georgia. It looks very, very good. You're talking about a 70% chance Trump wins Georgia right now when you look at the betting. And I think Trump is definitely trending in that state along with Arizona. It's really Arizona and Georgia right now. Nevada also as well, but Nevada is more so the betting, less so the polls. The polls are still very close. When you look at North Carolina is another state I'm going to give to Trump. Now, there has been some stuff about North Carolina, the polls maybe getting really tight recently. I think there's been a few positive polls. It's good to see Emerson +2, even a Bloomberg +1. That's a great poll for Trump. The Marist +2 is also really good. Insider Advantage +2. These polls check out. You do have that Quinnipiac +3. That's going to be falling off soon, and that should push Trump maybe up to about 1.5 in terms of the aggregate. I think North Carolina is a state that Trump's going to win. It looks like right now North Carolina will be closer than Georgia. North Carolina was very close. So was Georgia in 2020, but just the way things have shifted, you could be looking at around a 1.5-point victory in North Carolina. Georgia's going to be stretched out a little bit more, 2.5 to 3-point Trump victory when you look at the polls and everything in terms of that. And then we do have the Rust Belt at this point. Trump sitting at 268. That's why we would have loved to take that Nebraska 2nd District, but I do think Harris is going to win that. That's really, nobody really talks about that one anymore. It's not going to matter, in my opinion. Pennsylvania, obviously a state where there's been huge investment by both campaigns. It is the most important swing state because it has the most electoral votes, and it is a pure toss-up. You do have a Franklin and Marshall, Trump +1. You've got an Emerson, Trump +1. Bloomberg, Harris +2. That doesn't surprise me. Trafalgar, Trump +3. That doesn't surprise me. The Atlas Intel, Trump +3. Rasmussen, Trump +3. New York Times, Harris +3. Some interesting polling, but Trump does have a lead right now. And this has been a state, along with Wisconsin, the polls have significantly underestimated Trump. At this point, they don't, Trump doesn't even need a polling error. He's up by 0.6 in terms of the aggregate. And when you look at some of the polls that are going to fall off, you're going to get UMass Lowell falling off. You're going to get Quinnipiac falling off. That's going to help Trump's overall aggregate average in this, and potentially he'll be up by around 1 to 1.5. So I think Pennsylvania looks good. We'll also just look at Wisconsin right now, just because you do have a bunch of ties here. Trump sitting +0.2. This state has polled Trump supporters terribly in both 2020 and 2016, leading up to the election. Like even right before the election, it was really bad. And then also we'll just take a look right now at Michigan, which is a state that Trump had a very, very nice lead. You've got that Quinnipiac, and that's Quinnipiac and Bloomberg for you. I don't, that's really, really cut into these numbers. Trump was up by like 1.5 in Michigan, which was a very shocking lead considering Harris had been up the entire time. But these are two very liberal pollsters. And I'm not even just saying that because I'm biased. I mean, these are liberal pollsters. I know Quinnipiac's been better, but I think their last poll was like Trump +3 in Michigan, and now it's Harris +4. A 7-point swing in that short of a time frame. It's crap. It's ridiculous. Bloomberg +3. That is what it is. The Atlas Intel +3 for Trump. You'll take that. Trafalgar, Trump +2. That doesn't surprise me. But also you've got Michigan. Biden was sitting +9. He won it by like a point, or I think it was 2.3. So that's another state. All these states just look really, really good for Trump right now, obviously. There's no doubt about it. And then I still do have Trump at around 312. The big difference would be my prediction in terms of the just overall electoral college. It's very, very close. Trump is down by 0.2. He has led the last 4 polls, and 3 out of the 4 he's up by 2. And then the other one, the Wall Street Journal, he's up by 3. And these are not Forbes. It's not conservative. It's not conservatives mucking up these polls. CNBC, Wall Street Journal. It's not like they're crazy bias. I mean, you've got the Morning Compost. You've got TIPP, who does daily tracking, and they input it in here. That but they weight that. You've got Reuters, who's been terrible. So listen, when it comes to this, I think I would probably predict a slight Trump popular vote victory. I'm serious. Originally, I was going to have Harris with originally it was like a 1.1 point victory, but then I got it down to like a 0.5. But now I'm seeing all these polls, and we'll have to see with the final weeks and stuff like that. Still like a week and a half until my final prediction, but it could be around a 0.7, a 0.8 victory for Trump. I mean, honestly, if you factor in the polling errors, it would really be like a 2.5 to 3 point victory if you factor everything in, like the Gallup Party ID and how accurate it is, along with the fact that the Atlas Intel poll has Trump +3. It's about a 2.5 point Trump victory in terms of the popular vote. I don't know if I can go that far. I do know the liberal states are going to swing significantly, though. So that's the major change. It's the popular vote. Trump's been at 312, 312, 312. That's the golden number for Trump right now because it's every single swing state. You're not factoring in Virginia. If you factor in Virginia and you predict that, now Trump's up to like 325. And we're going to see the recent Virginia poll, see if there's maybe some movement there, because maybe Virginia is the next one. And maybe that is an option, but we'll have to just wait and see. But the main movement now is the popular vote, Trump potentially winning that outright. And obviously that would be very, very good for Republicans and just the party in general. I mean, my goodness, to win the popular vote. Not that it's a huge thing. I mean, if you lose it by 0.2, who cares? You know, it's basically, that's a huge gain since 2016 and 2020. Remember, Trump lost the popular vote by over 4 in 2020. So it's a huge gain no matter what. And that's the gain in New York. That's the gain in Illinois. That's the gain in Florida. Because Trump won Florida by 3. Now it's going to be like a 12-point victory, maybe 11. Ohio is going to be a bigger victory. Illinois is going to be a smaller margin. California is going to be a smaller margin. New Jersey is going to be a smaller margin. Those are the main states we're looking at. I think Texas is going to be possibly Trump expanding his margin, which would be crazy considering the population shift of Texas with all the liberals moving in and you're still able to maintain that lead. It is remarkable. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.